Hello everyone, welcome back to Arcturian Philosophy while I'm waiting for the cannabis delivery guy. So, we're going to talk about the use of cannabis. This was something that wasn't exactly problematic for me, but what happened was after I almost got assassinated because of my involvement with Agenda 21, with the nuclear extent of Agenda 21, and nearly got assassinated, I was so stressed out that I would continually smoke pot or edibles, and I happen to live in a state, California, where that's legal to do for the most part, or where I'm one of the people that would have counted as a very, very valid prescription in the past when I was highly disabled. But basically in California, we write this stuff for pretty much anything. We're almost, I think, to making it completely legal like Colorado and Washington. But the use of cannabis both medically and also that's the other thing for me medically, because I still have residual chronic pain from Lyme disease that I'm still healing in my body, and cannabis can be something that can help that for you. But you have to watch out so that you don't become a complete stoner. How do you know if you are a stoner? Even if you don't necessarily obsess over pot. The way you know if you're a stoner is if you're doing it every single day and you get pissed off if you realize you don't have any, or like me, this wasn't exactly over, the cannabis oil vaporizer, really, but when I went out to San Francisco and I made my videos in San Francisco there, somebody, they used some glasses, the reflection of the glasses, to telekinetically steal the vaporizer from me while I was in a bathroom. And of course, reflection of water, you've got lots of reflective stuff in a bathroom. And I come out, and I realize not too long after from the bathroom that it was gone. And then immediately at that moment when I realize it's gone, a guy passes me going, and I was like, oh, jeez. And I walked back and forth, looked around, and after that I just thought, I can't take you people anymore. My entire town, my entire city, San Francisco, seems to be like a effing reptile zoo, and someone was giving booze to these things, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is right out of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Also, hi, I'm Lacerda, your photographer. Lacerda, all you reptilian people, Lacerda, your photographer. Watch Fear and Loathing again, and you're gonna see so much stuff in there. Watch it stoned; it'll be even more fun. With spiritual use of these substances or medical use when it comes to cannabis, what you have to assess is, okay, am I doing this every single day, and do I get seriously pissed off if someone takes it from me with their cool telekinetic whatever, or if they or if I run out, or if my mom tells me they don't like the smell, do I get really defensive and that I need it and such? If you start to act that way, and then you're a stoner if you obsess over the getting high part, but even if you don't obsess over getting high, if you start to feel a kind of reliance on it because of its allowing nature, then that's when it's becoming a problem. And so I realized after a little while that I was so stressed out by being attacked constantly that I would keep myself stoned, because when you're stoned, this cannabis is a plant that allows allowing, as Teal called it. I'm taking that word from you again, Teal, because I learned most of this originally from you. Ironically, yeah, very ironically. So because of its allowing nature, it allows you to feel okay about what is going on. And that's where a lot of its healing ability comes from, by stimulating your consciousness to be okay about what is going on. And so I started to rely on it and realized, okay, this is a problem. I know this is a problem. People don't really have withdrawal from this stuff, but I know that it's annoying. And so I ended up asking Cryon, hey, can we can we do something about that? Or can we help me with that? And amazingly, he said, oh, you just needed to ask me about that. Okay. Um, but with the spiritual use of it, I think you can really use any form of it, honestly, as long as you are giving it from your own heart. Doesn't matter what someone else might think, but as long as it is from your heart, the respect that the plant as a teacher deserves. So when you're talking about spiritual use of a drug like that, you're talking about the plant as a teacher. So you could be getting the actual flowers or buds of the plant and smoking them or vaporizing them, or getting red velvet cake, which I've gotten before from this one place. It's really good. Although with things like that, the baked goods and such and brownies, it tends to detract from the spiritual nature. I don't mean the experience itself. You might have a spiritual experience, but the fact that you're having a brownie or a cake or something, for some people will detract from thinking about how it's a spiritual experience. But then again, people will get their hands on green buds or whatever, and depending on their mindset, that would detract from the spiritual experience if they're just used to being a stoner all the time. So for me, since I'm not used to being some kind of stoner, if I actually see the green, buds of the flower, I think, oh, they're so beautiful. What can you teach me? Whereas, if I'd see something like Rick Simpson style oil or a piece of cake, I wouldn't think of that in a spiritual fashion. So this is going to be relative to different people. The Einstein's ultimate theory of relativity is what I'm calling all of this stuff here, because your consciousness is relative to you. And what someone else sees is relative to them and completely right for them. What you see is completely right for you. So apparently for a while, for most of these people, I think they've started to let up, honestly. For most of these people that I'm pointing outside for the windows and such, everybody out there was spying on me and attempting to cast hexes on me and attempting to ultimately do things to kill me. Now they're figuring out that, just like Cryon said, it's not gonna work no matter what you do. In fact, she's gonna stop even feeling whatever you're doing. She's not even gonna know that you did something, because she won't even notice. I think they're stopping doing that, but for example, for them, for them, the best thing to do is attempt to kill me. Oh, okay. Cryon says, well, Krista, don't worry, because eventually they're gonna come around, and eventually you're going to make up with a lot of the people for screaming at them and cursing at them because they were doing that. But then again, if a bunch of people are outright trying to assassinate you, how's a person going to react at first, right? That's kind of understandable a little bit, until a person figures out that, okay, well, I'm not going to die, I'll stop screaming at you. So with a medical use of cannabis, some great things for the medical use of cannabis are vaporizing it in any form. As long as you're vaporizing it, you're getting vapor into your lungs. If you're gonna ingest it in that way, if you're going to ingest it orally, Rick Simpson oil is probably the best thing that you can use. Rick Simpson oil is something that you can make yourself. It's not hard to make. And his video on it is a little fast, so I could probably do a slow video on it maybe, and also video for the total, complete, utter novice. But there are also videos that are for the total novice that only make, say, 3 grams or something, not like 30 or 60 grams of it, where you're not using a huge amount and crushing it in some big barrel, and you're just using, say, an ounce of marijuana. THC and CBD, cannabidiol, when consumed in that fashion, basically hash oil, appears to have anti-cancerous properties. It appears to help the body begin to balance itself in a cellular sort of way. And so, of course, when they were trying to assassinate me, my mother said, "Oh, I'm going to take your Rick Simpson oil. I don't think you should be on that anymore because it's making you crazy." Oh, indeed. Oh, indeed. You mean I'm getting healthy? You mean I'm wearing pretty clothes? You mean I'm going out and such? And so you're trying to assassinate me for doing all that? And oh, the Rick Simpson oil helped me get healthy? Oh, okay, yeah, so take away the thing that helped me get healthy. But Cryon says, Krista, it does not gonna matter. Whatever they take away from you, you're going to be an example through it for people how eventually when you only have to rely strictly on yourself, you're going to be able to do it. Say with people that love music, when you're having no music in the basically compound, or John Muir Medical, Concord, California, the Behavioral Health Center, which is really a reptilian prison, having no music for such a long period of time, I found ways to get around it using only my internal resources. So that's a lesson that cannabis has for us, which is here. See how this is like, but don't start relying on me. Plus, it's really expensive. Even if you're in a legal state, it's expensive. If you're doing it all legally, it is expensive. So, it's kind of stupid to use in the pothead fashion, and also loses the beneficial effect of it after a short while. So to continue experiencing that helpful kind of effect, it's better to use it only when you need it. So right now, for example, I ended up thinking, oh, I can feel that I think I would be benefited medically if I went and purchased this today. And since I've taken enough time off from using it, I think, and all ironically, I was thinking, I want to be able to stop this, and, everything gets stolen from me that was cannabis. So, the universe provides interesting ways of doing that for you. One note on that, I've noticed sometimes when you say, I want to do this, or I want to stop this, or I want to leave X place, this has happened to me several times, where you say, I'd like to leave this place, and gotten kicked out of the place. Or say, I'd like to cut down on this, or stop this, and then it gets stolen from you. That has happened to me quite a bit. So Cryon has said, don't necessarily worry about how the thing you want happens. You can specify a few things in there, but for the beginning manifester, just state the end result that you want without too much of a how in the middle, and just let the universe do its thing. And he doesn't exactly mention, you might get weird, there might be weird ways of accomplishing this, but let it do its thing. But for example, I said I want to get out of this house where people are stealing from me, and I want to get driven for free to the nearest bus station. What ended up happening the next day, pretty much, was the guy suddenly went into a bizarre rage for no reason, said he was kicking me out that day, and because I was terrified in the car, he was almost getting violent. I had no idea why he was upset at all. This guy had been so nice, I had no idea why he was upset. And he ends up, because I didn't know what to do, he told me to call some number for directions, and I ended up telling that person, I'm scared, what should I do? And he hears me and says, well, I'll go to the police station then. And the person says, you should go in and tell the police what's happening. And so then I just said, oh, thank you, and I ran out there. Little did I know that the police were kind of in on the whole thing back then. The Newport, Vermont Police Department which they were telling me at John Muir Medical Center in Concord, California, taunting me, saying that the police were, quote, getting back at me because I tried to save someone's life. And they did not like the fact that I wanted to help save someone's life. So I end up getting driven to the station. I thought, well, I asked to leave that house. I guess it's happening, is what I thought. So, well, there you go. And then what ended up happening is that, sure enough, I end up mysteriously having a health worker off of their shift drive me 4 hours to the nearest bus station. And I thought, wow, this is actually happening exactly like I said it wanted to happen, or like I thought, what I wanted. I want to leave this house and be driven to the nearest bus station for free. I didn't say, don't kick me out of the house, or what it would involve, but for someone who's really beginning with it, you can start off that way, just saying what you want with an end result. But if you get some weird stuff in the middle, you just got to go with it to get to the end result. So I guess concluding our spiritual and physical medical use of cannabis. As far as physical conditions, when you're actually inhaling it rather than ingesting it as an oil form, like the Rick Simpson oil that I was mentioning. If you're inhaling it, then that is actually very good for things like emphysema, and also just in general cataracts. No matter how you consume it, it's good for cataracts. In general, THC reduces pressure inside of the eye. It allows your blood vessels in your lungs to expand, which allows you to get more oxygen, which overall helps you breathe better if you're having difficulty breathing or difficulty with your lungs. And also, with allowing you to get more oxygen, that's allowing you to think better. If you think about that, allowing you to think better, allowing you to formulate better intent to heal better, at the same time being allowing of, okay, well, whatever illness is wrong with me right now. You know what? I'm not mad about the illness or upset or about it anymore, scared about it. You know what? I feel a little bit better, though. I guess what could I think that I want instead, or how am I going to think that I'm healing this? That's something that you could try as well. With spiritual use, I think this can be done either alone or in a group, though I'm one of those alone types of people. This also depends on if you're talking about indica or sativa. What I've noticed is that people have not gone into indicas or sativas on some of the is cannabis okay to use videos. You have to know what kind of pot you are smoking or what you are using. You have to understand if it is an indica, a sativa, an indica-dominant hybrid, or a sativa-dominant hybrid. So indicas, those are the classics like Granddaddy Purple. Sativas are the classics like Trainwreck. Indicas are what are best known as couch lock and make you fall asleep or pass out suddenly. Sativas are what are known as heady or psychedelic, man, or whatever. Stoners tend to prefer sativas over indicas because they get more high with the sativa and fall asleep with the indica, even though the indicas are better overall for all health conditions. And this was the dispensary themselves that told me this. I tried to ask them, so what are the sativas even for? And they just sort of looked at me, knowing at the time that I had extensive physical problems, and they just said to me that it's pretty much just the indicas that are useful for medical purposes. And they just, they looked around like that, saying, we'll tell you, we'll just say it. We'll just say it to you, because we know you're not going to gonna run and scream about it. And I won't say what dispensary said that or not, so different dispensaries could have different ideas on that. Now, how to pick which one. If you have had problems with anxiety in the past or present, don't pick a sativa until you understand how an indica affects you, because there you have the least risk of any problems. Indicas are best known for helping the body, so you're not at very high risk of having problems with any type of pure indica or indica dominant hybrid. Now, indicas and sativas can be bred together. That's where, or mixed together, crossed. So that's where it's called a hybrid of some kind. And the dominant strain, indica or sativa, means it shows more traits of an indica and less of a sativa, or more traits of the sativa and less of the indica. That's just what that means. People can guess about the percentages and everything, but all it really matters is indica dominant or sativa dominant for you to understand when you're working with the hybrids. But to avoid the confusion at first, I'd say stick with indica to begin with. See how that affects you. If you pass out, obviously the idea was not to pass out. So then move, say, indica dominant hybrid, and then the sativa dominant hybrids. If you've had anxiety, again, avoid all of the sativas until you begin to see slowly how sativa type strains could affect you. Ideally, say, as hybrids. One people could try that have never used sativas before and are not sure if they can tolerate them would be, say, Blue Dream. One that was popular around here, I think of it as an old favorite, as one of the few sativas that I can really tolerate well. It's called Candy Jack. It also smells like candy, so I think that's kind of fun. It smells like candy. As well, I said you can do this by yourself or in a group. Now, with the group, you guys should probably stay away from sativas. That's where people suddenly get paranoid. All the paranoia and side effects like that are known from sativas. And the falling asleep is known, or tripping also is known for the sativas. And falling asleep is where the indicas are very well known. So first try indicas in group so that you don't start getting paranoid that someone's going to do something to you or whatever, and then see how your session goes. Maybe you're thinking to meditate, maybe you're thinking to hold a different type of spiritual session. But as long as it's not something that you end up realizing that you have to rely on every single day, unless it's medical, and you're treating something medically, where you're taking something, say, orally, medically, or vaporized, and it's a distinct medical condition. If you're relying on it every single day for something other than that, you feel too stressed out because the people outside are trying to kill me, or like I feel too stressed out because people outside, were thinking of assassinating me, and now they're thinking of leaving me alone because they realize that whatever they do, it doesn't work, it fails. If you end up getting too stressed out like that, or for whatever reason, or you want to escape, or there are many reasons people can use these things, then that's where you want to say, hey, guides, which is what I did. Hey, guides, can you help me out with this? I need some direction as to what to do. And so I was led to, first of all, everything got stolen from me, and I was first kind of pissed off, and then I said, oh, well, I said, stop me from doing this, so what better way to stop me from doing this than stealing it from me? Okay, whatever. And then the people who stole it, didn't realize that was my goal, so I don't know if they got pissed off that it didn't work, stealing this stuff from me. So you ask your guides for help, and I was shown, different things to do that could help alleviate my levels of stress, other than, using cannabis for it. And ways to do it, so that I would start to feel more of an allowing over the situation. Or one thing I was shown, you could start coloring with your pastels. You could start using your watercolors more. And while you're doing that, feel this or look at this, think about this. Um, you could go get your iPod out and listen to more songs and start analyzing the different songs that you know are written by Yaels. Different things along those lines that would allow me to start to feel okay about the situation, but also help alleviate the level of stress that was a different tool or different modality. But ultimately, will have to all start relying on ourselves for that. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen here, but Cryon keeps telling me, in the end here, Krista, you're going to have to rely strictly on yourself with what will end up happening. And he won't tell me anything really, but keep saying, prepare yourself, work on this here, so that when the time comes, when they think that they've got you and that you have no emotional way out, that you'll have what you practiced, that they weren't onto, that you'll have that internal reserve, that internal reservoir of how to summon up these feelings that, say, cannabis would produce, or summon up these feelings that painting or music or any other tool that we have as humans that could produce. So I'm going to work on that. So ultimately, we need to start trying to rely on ourselves. Well, I'm putting to here to heart chakra. Heart chakra seems to be where most of that reliance is. And that's why programming tries to break it, or rather just damage it, or make you think that it's broken so that it can't ever be fixed. That if they could do that. But that's impossible. And Katy Perry says so. Like a lightning bolt, your heart will grow, and when it's time, you'll know. You just gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Just own the night like the 4th of July. It's a fire. You're a firework. It was, yeah, hearing that just once. They never played it again after that because they were like, oh crap, oh man. When I heard that, I could picture the music video and the fireworks coming from people's chests, and I realized, wait a minute, I have power here no matter what they think. No matter what they think, I've got power because I still have my light love source. I didn't sell it. I still have it. And I have it, I can use it. So that's what we ultimately need to rely, and start learning to rely upon, learning about all of our energetic systems, which I am going to have to start doing over again after that, after the, mind fuck that I went through, and I'm now finally half walking out of. So I think that finishes this interesting episode of Arcturian philosophy, and I will come up with some more interesting topics to discuss. I'll see you all soon. Blessings.